Hey, it's Danny. This is Better Leaders, Better Schools, the original Ruckus cast for visionaries in school leadership who want to reimagine education and do school different, even within a traditional setting, so that you create a campus experience worth showing up for. Today, the intro is short because I want to get to the meat of the episode. Mitch Weathers is coming back on the show again, and we're looking at some fun education trends. Plus, we want to update you. AdorableRedHats.com is now live. And so we'll get Mitch's first glance reactions to the new website and more. So thanks so much for being here. Thank you for pressing play. Without listeners like you, this show would not be a success. And because of you, this show ranks in the top 1% of all podcasts. That's nearly 4 million shows worldwide. So enjoy. Thanks again. And right now we'll get some messages in from our show's sponsors. We'll be right back after that break. Still scrambling for supplies like it's 1999? ODP Business Solutions streamlines everything from pencils to projectors so you can focus on what matters, making an impact. Visit odpbusiness.com/education to learn more. That's odpbusiness.com/education. Most principals are isolated. You won't be. The Ruckus Maker Mastermind connects you with weekly coaching and mentorship, support, and a system to create a campus experience worth showing up for. Apply now and join school leaders from around the world who are on their Do School Different journey and get a notice for it. Go to betterleadersbetterschools.com/apply. The application takes about 3 minutes, and we'll follow up to make sure it's a perfect fit opportunity for you. That's betterleadersbetterschools.com/apply. IXL is a go-to support for classroom teachers because its adaptive platform makes differentiated instruction easy. See for yourself and get started today at ixl.com/leaders. That's ixl.com/leaders. All right, man. Well, you got the mic. We're already recording. This is great. I got a surprise for you. And yeah, hope you like this. Dan Dawson's making this live, so this is the
Dan
preview.
Dawson's the man.
But check that out. So we're gonna read. Like if you're watching, we'll be reading to you. If you're listening, we'll be reading what we're seeing. Well, actually, I mean, you laughed. Why don't you tell the Ruckus Maker enjoying this content? What are you experiencing right now? Tell me how you feel. Don't tell me what the words are. Tell me how you feel.
I'm feeling happy,
Yeah,
nostalgic a little bit for this trip that was, gosh, now what, 4 years ago? Maybe 3, 4 years ago?
It was a while, yeah. Tail end of COVID.
Right.
So I think we had to wear masks, maybe, or maybe not.
You know, I definitely traveling we did. I don't remember at the event, to be honest. But it was pretty rural where we were, right? There we weren't around a lot of people.
So anyways, we were in Taos, New Mexico. That's what Mitch is seeing, a picture of us, mountains in the background, and our 2 red hats. And if you are not only a fan of the Better Leaders, Better Schools podcast, but a fan of this special series we do, it's almost like a sub-podcast within Better Leaders, Better Schools, but it's called Adorable Red Hats. And to get the...
Did you get my 50% payment? I did. I changed my mind, and so I'm a 50%.
No, are you serious?
I have my note right here to myself. Send Danny $5.53.
Like through a check?
And what do you call it? Venmo'd you. You got to check your bank account, man. $5.53.
You know, I'm gonna double check that. That sounds awesome. All right, you're a 50% owner. I love that it was on the list. And we're looking at the website. So it says 2 beards, 2 red hats, 1 mission, do school different. Welcome to the most unintentionally iconic fashion statement in educational podcasting history. Okay, so what I want you to do, Mitch, now we're going to scroll to the second page. You haven't seen it yet. This is the first reveal. All right, just tell us how you're feeling and what you're experiencing.
I am feeling hungry because that was actually, I remember those enchiladas. We both got them. I'm feeling a little thirsty too.
Yes.
We had a cold beer, and I believe this was before the hike. We were getting ready for the hike the next morning. Was this the first night we met in New Mexico?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. So, and they
Which was
got
the
that
first time
great,
we had ever met in person,
right?
in real
Which is
life.
wild, because
Yeah.
it feels like we've been friends forever. But yeah, that was the first time we met in person. They had that famous red and green Christmas style salsa there, which is delicious.
Yeah, I remember that.
But here it says about red hats. It started with a hike, 2 rugged ruckus makers, 2 red hats, 1 spontaneous compliment. You guys are adorable. We haven't recovered since. Now it's a movement, not because the hats are magical, though we're not ruling that out, but because they represent what school could be: bold, different, and a little bit ridiculous in the best way. All right. Ready for page 3?
Sure.
Yeah, there's more pages.
Is it?
Boom.
You didn't want to take this picture. We had been
No?
we had been in Salt Lake City, epic day, tragic day, but
Tragic
epic
too.
day.
Yeah.
And we had both missed our flights, and we finally got back to the school, and we were making our way to the airport, trying to salvage the day. And you were ready to go. And I'm like, we got to get a picture real quick in front of the school.
Yeah.
And this one even has an American flag.
It has American flag, man. Go USA. I wish there was a bald eagle streaking, with an AK-47 in its talons through the sky. But yeah, this page says right to the red hats. If you got a bold idea, want to be on the show and discuss trends in education, and I'm serious with this question, right? Are you okay having people on the show with us?
Yes, that would be
Cool.
fantastic.
All right,
and the whole notion, right, is just what's bouncing around out there, and what are trends in education. That'd be
right on. Yeah, exactly. So if you want to be on the show to discuss trends, or you want to come on the show and just tell us how adorable we are, you can do that. And really, I guess step one is email us at hello@adorableredhats.com, because we own that. And I guess you're a 50% owner now. And then step 2 is tell us why you want to be on the show. Fair enough. Do we need any other steps?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. There's more pages. We're almost done.
Oh, we're not done. Okay.
No. This was today's project.
Oh.
When my word means something, I told you by the next time we record, this would be up, right?
Yeah. So you did it like 30 minutes ago.
No, I spent probably like 2 hours this morning doing it. Yeah.
This one's hilarious because I think we actually weren't wearing our red hats. We put them on for this.
For the picture. And we're pretty lit on this picture too. We had gone to a micro or a little little brewery.
Right? Yeah, this was in fall of 2023.
This is when the seed was planted of you becoming a bestseller. We were working on your book marketing plan.
Book launch. Yeah. The Red Hat Rebellion is just
beginning. Yeah. And if you have ever felt like education needs a complete rewrite and maybe a red beanie, our upcoming manifesto is your permission slip to lead with courage, creativity, and just the right amount of chaos. And we should make that. Where's the upcoming manifesto? Let's bold that, because that seems like it's hinting at something. An upcoming manifesto.
And right? Is it upcoming because you're going to scroll down and it's right there? No.
Oh, wait. Oh, okay. I guess I didn't add the punchline. Well, we're writing a book. We're writing the Red Hat Rebellion book.
Oh, we are. Good. I'm learning all kinds of new stuff today.
Yeah, man.
I have to finish the book 2 before I can commit to book 3 with you.
I think you'll be fine. I got an idea of how we could do that faster. It'll be like a 9-minute in service, So there. We're gonna be okay. I've already
almost wrote that one last summer in Nashville.
In Nashville, yeah. I'm sad that we didn't, because we had ideas for even an 8-minute in service too. So in the red hat rule, right? If you're doing school the same way it's always been done, you don't deserve a red hat. And then there's that picture, and you and Joe.
So that's Ventura. FaceTiming. We're in Ventura. You're probably in New York, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's in my office before I repainted it. Yeah. So just we're all having a good time. And yeah, we got links to subscribe to the podcast, see us on YouTube. I think I'm gonna start putting these on the Ruckus Makers Substack, which has been relaunched, and it's really pretty cool. I don't know if you have you been checking it out. I won't feel bad at all if you haven't. It's okay.
Not as of late.
Yeah, that really hurts. Actually, I was lying, but
I've been.
I just want to show you real quick, right?
Well, that's why I paused, because you're not talking about the lounge, right?
No, not at all. I'm talking about the Substack. And I want to talk about it really quick, and then we're going to get into the trends for our listener. But it's because
I like how you just said that. We're going to get into the trends for our listener.
For our listener,
so that one person who's listening right now, make sure.
Well, no, okay, you're trying to throw shade. I see what you're doing, and
no. I just thought that was
I'm
funny
here for it because I do it a lot to you, and I surprise you on the show, which is half of what I live for, is like inside jokes that I'm telling myself and just seeing how other people react to the joke that they're hearing for the first time, but I've been practicing for possibly weeks. But no, so I hired a podcast coach. We can arguably it worked, you know.
Yes.
I mean, here we are, millions of downloads in top 0.5% on the podcast. But he said, and this is a leadership thing too, right? Speak to one person, you create to one person, because this medium, right? Like, yeah, we got thousands and thousands of listeners and viewers. Like right now, it's one person with us, you know?
Right.
And if they're doing a podcast with earbuds, we're with them in their head right now. It's just us three, you know? And if it's the video, same sort of deal, but it's probably not, you know, a group that's enjoying that. But if you want to, you know, maybe do group watchings of the Adorable Red Hats version of the podcast, we welcome it. So how did you throw me off? Just by throwing some shade for a second?
No, I just thought it's funny how you said that. But there's another leadership, and then we'll get to trends in the.
We got to talk about the Substack too. But I've got it up.
To your point, you in all things that I've learned and watched you as the podcast has grown over the years, and you're the masterminds and the business and the books you've written and everything. You're always really intentional about investing in you to do what that next thing is. So the fact that you hired a podcast coach, that's a very Danny Bauer thing, where I think, you know, you can also go about it and like not make the investment. And that's a challenge you've thrown out to Ruckus Makers and school leaders, pre-Ruckus Makers. Like, are you know, you can go at it alone. It's one of the loneliest jobs on the planet, school leadership. Or will you invest in you? That whole idea of you get better, everybody gets better. And it's not just financial, that's part of it, but it's that time. It's the commitment investment. So you're always 100%. Super good about that. But show us the let's walk through the Substack real quick. Tell everybody what a Substack is, because I'm not sure everybody knows.
Yeah, well, so I encourage everybody to start one. Number one, it's a way to put your ideas out there in the world. I mean, it's a platform. They are kind of created into almost a social media space now, because they got like an old Twitter feed that they call Notes. But it's very simple. It's nice because it's a playground with constraints. There aren't too many design choices that you can make. You can absolutely customize, but only to a certain extent. And you know, I had this up, and then I started thinking about, what if Ruckus Makers, instead of just like me sharing great content to the Ruckus Maker audience, what if I thought about the Ruckus Maker Substack as sort of like a magazine or like a media company, right? And if I thought about it in that way, what would I publish? So this is just the start. We'll see it evolve, and you can see there's a bunch of content on there, but we have a few different things, and I'll just walk you through them really quick. By the way, you go to ruckusmakers.substack.com and you can become a subscriber. There's occasional free posts. Like, most of the free content is on social media and ruckusmakers.news. This is more like, again, like a magazine, you know, that you get in the mail, except this is digital. This is a premium thing, but it's very affordable and totally worth it. When you get it, you get a lot of great content. You also get the Digital Danny, which is an AI-powered mentor, trained on 4 million words of content, tools, frameworks, and 10 years of coaching experience. And you get some other stuff too, tools and frameworks, But so we have the mediocre educators here. I call it meh. And we have a couple, couple pieces of content. Secretary of Education announces Wrestle Ed. Teachers must defend changes in steel cage matches. Principal moves to fire custodian for making school too clean. And this is actually based on a true story, which is wild. So with Matt, think The Onion meets education, right?
That's
what could go wrong? So that one's for fun, but hopefully to make you smile and make the heaviness of school leadership a little bit lighter. And the reframe, this one is just basically mindset reframes, always 90 seconds or less. So my goal is just to like give you short context. Like I could show you this one. It's called End of Year or Eulogy. And basically it's talking about how principals approach end of year evaluations, kind of like it's this type of evaluation that it's not going to change. It's the end of the line, right? Like there's no more learning to be done. And for me, the reframe is, what if you not only just delivered feedback, but cast vision for what could be next? And I give 5 steps, right? Which you can see here. And so that was one of the premium pieces of content, but yeah, they're always short. They give real quick context. And then the shift is the reframe and how you could do it different. AI, obviously, I'm really interested in that. And so this will be either content pieces, trends in AI, stuff in education like that, or something that I think leaders really appreciate. Like, Demetrius, he wrote me last night. I built a custom GPT, this one actually, and he read this and did it. But the custom GPT was writing a 1-page letter. Your legacy letter is what I called it, right? And this content here doesn't talk about all the questions that are in there, but right, if you are a subscriber, you click this, pops into Chat GPT, and basically it has some questions. You might take like 10 minutes to jam with the thing, the bot, and then it'll spit out a 1-page legacy letter that you can send to your community. And Demetrius, he shared the letter he wrote. It was brilliant. Of course you'll want to make, a few edits, but it gets you 90% of the way there. And it's really pretty cool. So that's .ai. And then there's just like the regular old Ruckus Maker feed when I'm going to be writing about how to reimagine education, even within a traditional setting, so that you create a campus experience worth showing up for. So it's something I'm really excited about.
I see how it's like a magazine, though, having different sections or categories in a traditional magazine, right?
Right on. Yeah. And there might be more, and I might build a team. Maybe there'll be other writers. I don't know. But the point is, like, I have a little more of an idea of what I'm going to deliver there, and it must be working because I'm seeing subscribers really go up, including folks that are willing to invest, and again, very affordable, 20 a month or 200 for the year. You get all this great content, you get the digital deity, and all sorts of stuff, right? There's actually a founders level too. Last thing I'll say, there's a founders level that's at 1,000, but if you do that, you actually get a year in the Ruckus Maker Club as well. So, it's just,
that's cool.
Yeah. So good stuff. Tell us about like where you at with the book. Cause we're recording, it's the end of May. This will come out, I think, in maybe end of August, but how's stuff coming along with your book?
Good, man. Thanks for asking. We are currently, it's just been a fun journey for the second effort, the second book to co-author. It's just, it's completely different.
Well, in a third in the pipeline.
You got a third. So, and some of that stepping into the unknown, when I kind of hatched the idea, I knew for a fact that this has to be a co-authored experience. At book 1, I could speak to those grade level bands 3 through 12 and felt very authentic in that. And this was K through 2 initially.
Right.
And I knew the co-author I wanted. I think we kind of talked about all this. But when I pitched the idea to Corwin, I just was very clear about, hey, I don't even know, I have an idea of what I think this should be, but it's definitely going to evolve. And that has been probably the most fun, is Sarah and I just like in constant contact on, we're using Voxer as our main mode, but then have, of course, multiple meetings a week and coming up on something and having to kind of pivot and iterate. But we're rocking and rolling. We're moving into chapter 3 and 4 right now. So that's preface, intro, 1, 2, and then going to be working this next month on those 2 chapters. So our deadline is end of August, early September. So it's good, man. It's challenging, I'll say.
Right. And well, speaking of challenging, and what don't you like about working with Sarah? I'm just kidding. Tell us what you do like. Tell us what you do like.
You're killing me. Yeah, definitely nothing I yet have disliked it. The funny thing is,
no, I said, both... what do you like?
I know, but I'm going to tell you one story real quick. What I do like is she committed to, like me with the first effort, the first book, like keeping it genuine and like authentic and intentional. And that is absolutely her lens. And then all of it, both of us really kind of committed to rooting it in the science of learning. Like, what do we know about how we learn? And what does that mean in the K1, 2, 3 space? So what I think I could speak for both of us. We found just a flow that we didn't expect. It's like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to let's do a shared Google Doc. I mean, we just started like creating. In fact, I considered reaching out to a few friends that have co-authored and said like, what was your process? And we just decided, no, let's just see how this goes and figure it out. And it's been good, but you have to like, it's that vulnerable thing. You write and you're like, okay. And we have a way of saying, if you add new content, tag it in this way so that the other person can go through and you're allowed to just edit, make suggestions, cross things out. Like it's really like a true work in progress. And that's been really fun. And
right on.
We've had to like figure out how to be honest. She texted me one day and was saying something. I didn't respond to a question that she had asked. And I don't know, I got busy doing something else. And the next day she sent me a text. Hey, my intuition is that you're not happy in the moment. And I was like, I thought I texted back. Busy. I'm like, did you mean this for me? I thought you like it was like this very serious sounding text. Like, and I was like, I don't even know what question you're talking about. So we've had a few of those encounters where it's like, okay, we can just be totally blunt and real. Like our meeting yesterday, our writers meeting yesterday, both of us were just grumpy for no reason, like totally separate, just one of those days. And so we weren't as productive. So it's good, man. I'm excited for it. I'm really, I think it's going to bring a ton of value. So
100%. Would love to have you both on the show, once we're at launch time. And again, for the Ruckus Maker, listening, it may seem like Mitch and I are just spitballing that kind of thing. And some level we are, but there are, again, lessons there. So, collaborating and figure out like how best to work together, how you're going to give feedback, how you're going to give sort of criticism and accept that and checking in, the SEL type stuff. And also, just checking your assumptions. And I think school leaders, and I certainly know teachers do this to principals when they're like, hey, are you okay? You having an all right day? And that's just because, you're in your head and you're thinking through all the 1,000 things that you got to do. And here she thought, maybe you're upset with her and no, you're just busy. You just missed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I came home and I showed Amber, my wife, I said, hey, you got to see this. Cause I thought like, is Sarah like going through something really serious with a friend or her husband or like it, and I showed my wife and Sarah and I had already cleared it up and everything. It was fine. But she was like, oh, I would have totally sent that. She was like, if I was Sarah, that would have been me. And she's like, Sarah, my husband just got busy and didn't respond. He does that all the time. No?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And so that's a good lesson for Ruckus Makers because, like a lot of times we're telling ourselves these stories and they're just simply not true. I was talking to somebody too, a new former educator founder. They're doing the edupreneuring life. And I don't remember who it was. It was just the other day. And they were just talking about reaching out to somebody I remember who it is. And somebody had reached out to them for a keynote speaking or engagement, right? So it's not like they were reaching out to people they don't know. This person said, we want you to do this talk. And they agreed on, what that would take, the price, travel, all this kind of stuff. And she's been following up for 2 weeks and has not heard from the person, right? And so shared a number of things, but again, assumptions, right? Like she might not even have gotten the email. School filters these days, like they filter out. There's folks I've worked with, 10-year clients, right? That we know, love, and trust each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my emails get flagged as
Blocked
spam. Yeah,
right.
yeah. And then they got to get their tech team to stop that. And they're like, I know this guy for a decade, right? And so I talked to her about that. And there's little apps and stuff you could see your score. I might have even shared that with you once too, to get your rating and whatever. You could get your email health. And then there's all the folders, right? So like Gmail or whatever, right? Putting in promotions or putting it in,
Oh
something
yeah.
else. And that certainly happens. And then there's another level like you were just busy, right? So we've already gotten through 3 levels that are probably very likely to have happened. But what's the story? This person hates me and
Yeah.
wants me to die. Right? Like, no, man, probably not.
No.
They might just be busy.
Yeah. 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 It's been good. I definitely see the connection there. I mean, if you're going to do anything in collaboration with a team or with one other person, there's got to be that element of vulnerability, transparency, but just honesty. And you got to lead with what's the way to say that? Like, it's probably one of these scenarios and not,
Mm-hmm.
lead with optimism as opposed to maybe pessimism. Maybe that's a way to think of it.
Right on.
But it's been fun. I'm excited.
Well, we'll just go real quick back to our new website and just get last impressions. Did I miss anything? Is there anything that you want included that's not on here?
No.
It's pretty good,
I'm
right?
just curious if someone does make the cut and they get to come on the show.
Yeah.
Is there any, are they part of the, the Red Hat Mafia, or are they
We have to make some decisions there.
yeah.
I think
maybe those are closed cabinet decisions we have to make.
I think those are private for sure. We have veto options, and we had already looked if Patagonia has our red hats back in stock, but maybe they get a red hat. Maybe, I don't know if they get a red hat for being there and they have to wear it, or like after they're our guest, we maybe send it to them as a thank you. That might be funny because if the guest wasn't like that good, we could send them a non-red hat.
That's horrible.
Like they get a green
I think
hat.
it's a preemptive gift, and they wear it during the show.
That's nice of you. Okay. Yeah. All right. Nice. Yeah. And if they weren't that good of a guest, we probably shouldn't publish the episode or cut that part out. All right. Believe it or not, it's already been almost a half hour. So we'll break here.
Oh boy.
When we come back, let's get into the trends and
current trend.
We'll start with boundaries, and then we'll get into teaching hacks. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Cool.
ODP Business Solutions, formerly Office Depot Business Solutions Division, has been a trusted partner for schools for 30 years. At ODP Business Solutions, we're by your side to meet your evolving education needs. Let's talk about what keeps Ruckus Makers up at night. Creating engaging learning spaces while juggling budgets, safety protocols, and those endless supply lists. Here's the game changer. ODP Business Solutions helps you tackle it all. We're not just another vendor, we're your strategic partner in transformation. Want to turn a tired computer lab into a STEAM innovation center? We'll help design it. Need to keep 8 schools stocked and spotless? We've got sustainable solutions that scale. Looking to upgrade from whiteboards to interactive displays? We'll guide you through the entire process. And the best part, you can get it all from a single supplier. That helps you simplify ordering and streamline budgeting while staying compliant with easy access to cooperative contracts. However you want to advance, ODP Business Solutions has 30 years of experience helping districts like yours get ahead. Visit odpbusiness.com/education to learn more. That's odpbusiness.com/education. Let's talk results just for a second. Dan was burned out and on stress leave. Now he's leading a thriving school and mentoring others. Demetrius joined the Ruckus Maker Mastermind when he realized his district wasn't going to develop him. And he went from AP to national blue ribbon winning principal. And Kellen, she just landed her first dream principal job, thanks to the coaching, support, and community she found inside the Ruckus Maker Mastermind. It's not a course, it's an experience, it's a commitment. If you're ready for elite level leadership growth, weekly coaching and mentorship, and a proven flywheel to solve your biggest challenges, you can apply today at betterleadersbetterschools.com/apply. The mastermind application takes about 3 minutes to complete. We'll be in touch to set up a call to make sure the mastermind's a perfect fit PD opportunity for you. And you can apply again at betterleadersbetterschools.com/apply. Teachers love the support that IXL provides in the classroom, and Ruckus Makers love it all as well, because IXL also gives school leaders meaningful insights on every level. Put your finger on the pulse of student performance with IXL and its dashboard to drill down to see progress and growth for individual students. You can even customize reports to hone in on the information that matters most to you. IXL helps Ruckus Makers make data-informed decisions that will benefit their students' growth goals. Get started today at ixl.com/leaders. That's ixl.com/leaders. All right, we're back. It's Mitch from Organized Binder. Really great program. Executive Functions for Every Classroom. Best-selling book. Second book coming out. Third book hot off, like right on its tail. Well, it might be a double release. I don't know. It's possible.
Who's going to write the foreword for the third book?
Sarah.
Okay.
Okay,
Sarah, if you're tuning in, which I doubt you are, if you are, then
why isn't she tuning in?
Because she's teaching right now, man.
Oh, okay, but it's not streaming
She's
live. Sarah, you better be listening. If you're going to be on this podcast with Mitch and I to talk about your book, I want evidence that you've watched or listened to at least 20 episodes. Okay. I think that's fair because think about it. I've been podcasting for a decade. So I didn't say listen to a whole year, right? Which is 1/10 of the episodes. I said 20, and there's 52 weeks. Let's do the math really quick. Are you good at math? I'm not. I'm going to have to use a calculator.
You do 1 a week, 52 a year?
Yeah. So
Call
520
it 50 for the math.
Yeah, right. Okay, or
so
500.
40% of 1 year is 20.
Yeah, right. So but how much for the whole shebang, right? For a decade's worth of content.
Well, if there's 50 in a year and you've done it for 10 years, that'd be 500 episodes.
Yeah, at least, right? So that's like I'm asking Sarah 4%. I'm asking you to listen to 4% of the content, right? And provide evidence that maybe like a 1 or 2 sentence summary, I think is really nice. Post it on social with a link to the episode. And that's just one way you can help out. I am exposing your book to a massive audience that would love to read it. So I think,
very gracious of you.
Very gracious. Very gracious. Did you know when I went to South Africa, they named me Lulamile?
When you were speaking at that event?
I went there for 3 summers and I worked with the educators and the school leaders, but they gave me a Xhosa name and they named me Lulamile, which means gentle and humble. Also gracious, right? This guy didn't show up, right? A very toned down version, I think showed up. Okay, let's talk about boundaries.
What's this trend? Boundaries. What's this? This is a trend. Tell us about it.
Well, just I think lack thereof, right? I've been looking through different principal groups and teaching groups that are online, and a lot of people complaining about burnout, lack of boundaries. I was reading. I was really curious, right? One person, it was in the principal group online, and they said, "Does anybody here actually love their job?" Right? Because I don't. I hate it, right? And that's where they're at, which is fine. And within the mastermind, I think we're sort of outliers where people feel energized, right? Every day is not peaches and roses and puppies and rainbows, unicorns too, but they have a space where they get poured into, and so they're able to balance the challenges and hardships. And I was afraid to see it's going to be 100%. Yeah, this job, education sucks. I tell nobody to join, and da-da-da. But there actually was a decent amount, let's say at least 30 to 40% of people were like, I still love it. And so my little riff on this, I like to say it's called self-care, not district care, but yeah, when it comes to boundaries, like what has worked for you in the past, and what have you seen, or colleagues that you really, hold in high esteem? How are
Yeah.
they able to navigate a challenging setting of education and be okay, right?
Yeah. Boundaries. I think that's a trend. I hope what is discussed a lot and comes up, because I think about it through, I've always kind of approached it through like, how do I make this a sustainable practice?
Yeah.
And it really is about it all. At least for me, it was about reflection and looking
Mhm.
at my practice, reflecting on how I was approaching. And for me, it wasn't school leadership; it was teaching, classroom teaching. But in the same way, right? You can completely lose yourself. The job's never over, and
It's
and
hard.
so being very calculated with your efforts is important, because you can just. We've all seen teachers that just are living unhealthy lives. They're burning out. They're like, you're this person, like, I hate this job. I don't want to do it anymore, which is tragic. So boundaries, and in school leadership, I've seen it in my work with schools with, organized finder and now book studies and whatnot. And every once in a while you meet a school leader that, at least from my perception, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, they're courageous enough to set up boundaries, which means you're not going to get everything done,
Hmm.
and being okay with that, which sometimes puts you at odds with the district and
Hmm.
expectations. Again, coach me if I'm wrong here, but one of my mentors in life and educators I look up to most, Dick Davis, was a principal of a high school here in California for many years. And I met him through an organized minder collaboration. And he was the most, up until now, like the most reflective school leader I've ever met. And he was,
Yeah.
and I'd ask him about it. And he's like, hey, I'm okay doing what matters and
Hmm.
doing what I need to do as a leader of this community, and not doing a lot of things. I just don't do them. And,
Wow.
I don't know. I think that's a bold move, especially if you're new to that position. I don't know if you can be that bold, but
Yeah. Yeah.
for me, it became like, okay, if I can't draw a very clear line between what I'm doing as a classroom teacher, as a teacher, it doesn't have to be classroom based, what I'm doing as a teacher, my efforts and improving student success, then I'm not going to do it. And I just
Hmm.
started throwing things out. Not that I was an expert early in my career, but I was like, I'm doing this because it's what we all do and what's always been done. But I don't understand why I'm doing this. It's not helping me be more successful and the kids. So I
Hmm.
just stopped doing some things and started leaning into the stuff that, like, I was like, oh, this is helping. Right. So,
Right on. Well, I like saying, I help powerful people remember how powerful they are. And I got that from a coach called Rich Litvin. But I think we forget how much agency and autonomy we have, right? And we just accept everything as it's given to us, not knowing that you have a voice, you have boundaries, you can push back at times, and respectfully too. It's not just, nah, I don't want to do it. It's like,
no.
no, here's the
Yeah.
rationale and stuff too. And Jethro and I are working on a book called Reject the Premise,
Yeah.
right? And
You
so
told me.
we're going through all the different ideas that we think ruckus makers play it safe principles as well. I mean, anybody in education are just sort of handed like this is school,
This one.
and then we
Mhm.
thought through. And we're like, maybe, maybe not, right? And I think that maybe question's a really good one,
Mhm.
and our whole assertion is you be the author of the story you're writing, right? And I think that's what your mentor's saying, and I tell principals that, yeah, I mean, maybe you have to do that, right? Or the other sort of flavor of it is, well, you like to be a high achiever. District's saying you do it. Well, just turn it in. Do an F job.
Mm.
Nobody's going to look at it. You've done the thing that they're asking for the last 5 years. Have they ever followed up? Have they ever told you good job? Like, the thoughtfulness you put into it? Have they
Right.
asked how it's going to guide, right, the work of the school, the day-to-day operations? Or was this just a thing to turn in? And if it's just a thing to turn in, well, just turn something in.
Mm.
And then you can say you did. And that's what I would do, right? And especially today with all the tech and automation and AI, that's a great job for that, And
Right.
now you focus on the real work, getting into classrooms, developing relationships, providing feedback and leadership and vision, you know what I mean? And building culture and
That's what Davis did every week at the end of the
yeah.
week. And he started, because we were working very closely through Organized Binder, I was lucky enough to be CC'd on this weekly message. But at the end of the
Oh,
week,
cool.
he wrote a
Yeah.
letter to the
Nice.
staff
Yeah.
of his reflections for the week.
Sweet.
And he was constantly, there was one of these principals, you just see him, he's walking campus, he's in classrooms, and he would just reflect on all things at this high school. And it was
Right.
really, really intentional. So
That's sweet. And back
yeah.
to the Substack, I was showing you, and Demetrius had such great success with that legacy letter. I can see now, like, actually, if you fired up that custom GPT as a subscriber and said, okay, it's the end of the week, I'm going to reflect on the top 3 things, the 3 shifts, the 3 whatever, just outcomes I'm proud of, doing school
Mm-hmm.
different. And then now you have a letter in the same sort of vein, I think, and you can ship
Mm-hmm.
that out, to your community. So the only other idea I have on boundaries is on, the Ruckus Maker mindset tool that I teach. And that's just the fundamentals of eating, sleeping, moving, meditating or praying, whatever you want to do there, and unplugging. There's also connecting with friends and family and exposure to sunlight. But if you're like, a lot of times, if I have a coach call and somebody, like, I don't know, actually, I'd have you reflect. You and Sarah were grumpy the other day. If you reflected on your fundamentals for that day, how were they, do you think?
I think, I think that's different for everybody. You know me, I'm a pretty
Yeah.
committed and consistent runner. So
Yeah,
my
sure.
routine is get up and make some coffee, and family gets up, and I'm making some breakfast. My wife takes them out the door, and
Mm.
I go on a run. Right.
Right.
And I'm a pretty clean, healthy eater. For me, that was sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I was on and it sometimes unavoidable, but I've noticed
Sure.
that I was working with a high school, it was a organized binder training, because they're starting off in the fall, first time, they're a new collaboration. So I was at this school, and it was like a 2 or 3 hour drive, and I met with all of the staff, and I got home anyway. Long story short, that this is a couple days before, but I didn't get home till like 9:30,
Yeah.
and said hi to the kids real quick, and everyone's kind of winding down. Well, I'm just like, I was just still kind of switched on,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and ended up, because of that, not being able to fall asleep, and it just kind of like threw me a little bit. So
Yeah. Yeah.
in that sense, I've been feeling that all week. And
Yeah.
so
So that's something I see when I'm coaching people and just asking, check in on the fundamentals, and usually there's at least one, if not multiple domains that are sort of low, right? And
right,
so, okay,
right.
well, if you want to sort of change, then and change, like, the state you're in and the energy you're feeling, well, go back to the fundamentals. Eat well,
And is
sleep.
that in your conversations, coaching calls and whatnot? Is it okay? Let's identify, let's just talk. And maybe it's, yeah, I'm getting 4 hours of sleep a night, and I'm not eating well, I'm not moving. Do you start in this boundaries conversation, like, let's pick one and and work on that for a little while? Or how's that conversation go?
Depends, I think, the context and the leader, and, how much
Okay.
is off and that kind of thing. But I think, generally speaking, focusing and moving on. I have a coffee cup that I thought was a brilliant idea. It never sold. Well, nothing sells on my Shopify. I'm taking down that site. Like, it's just totally stupid. I thought, like, oh, people are going to buy Ruckus Maker shirts and hats and cups. And they did initially, right? And then they kind of, I
Yeah.
think well, actually, I know what's wrong is I don't talk about it enough. So people don't know it
Sure.
exists. But anyways, even when people were buying merch, nobody bought this cup, and I thought it was a great idea. And it had 2 pictures. One was of 5 sort of tasks on a line graph, right? And basically, if you're focused on all of them, they all just go up a little bit, right? Versus if you have 5 tasks and you put full focus on one, it's like, boom, shot up, right? And the rest of them are all low, which is fine, but you've knocked that one out, and now you can knock another, right? So
Mhm.
generally speaking, I like the idea of focusing on one thing.
Focusing on one. Yeah. Well, you've talked a lot about, like, over the years, a lead domino, and sometimes in that approach to just kickstarting, I mentioned it to you before we jumped on my buddy's organization called Men and Women of Discomfort. And it's an interesting concept, that this idea of embracing discomfort as a
Discomfort
path
brought to you by
to,
Organized Binder.
you're not in the camera. You guys push that over to your left a little bit.
Really? It was on my screen.
Was it? You're like 50. We're like 50-50 here. Well, but that kind of idea of, like, well, if I'm being strategic with, like Mike's saying, if I'm not sleeping, I'm not liking how my diet, and I'm not exercising, my first thought is, we'll start with sleep. Get some sleep, and maybe you have a little bit more capacity to work on the others, which is kind of your mug idea. Sorry your mug didn't sell, by the way. That's a bummer.
For the last 8 months, nothing has sold, so that's why I'm closing that down.
Yeah, we'll just talk about it here on the Red Hat show.
Yeah. Well, breaking news. So that's a good segue. Dan Dawson was working on the website as we were recording. It is now officially live. Like, you can go to adorableredhats.com and it is up. You can engage in the content. You can send us an email. Hello. He even set that up. So hello@adorableredhats.com.
And we should give a big shout out to Dan Dawson.
Yeah, I mean, he's great. He hosts our websites and makes sure those things stay live. And then this thing is called a fave icon. Can you see where my cursor is? Can you oh no, you can't see that on the screen.
Oh, I can.
Oh yeah, all right. Anyways, it's that 8-bit version of us, right? So you know how companies usually put a logo there that shows up in your browser? It's the 8-bit picture that I WhatsApped you. So anyways, yeah.
Thanks for that.
No worries, man.
The one that makes my beard even greater than it actually is. But that's
like I said, bring it up with ChatGPT. It has nothing to do with me. Let's talk one more trend, and then we'll wrap, because this has been a lot of fun. So I was perusing through Reddit, and I came across interesting discussion, which was just, what's the one teaching hack you swear by to save your sanity? And I'll read you some of them. This is really ridiculous. If a parent, we're not necessarily saying we condone any of these comments, by the way, right?
Yeah, I've never heard any of these comments for anybody listening.
Yeah, to be clear, Mitch 100% condones everything about to be said. And if you have a problem, send it to hello@adorableredhats.com. All right. So this person said, in response to what's the one teaching hack you swear by to save your sanity, if a parent consistently gives you a hard time, assume they have a mental illness. This can allow you to operate from a place of compassion instead of anger. Okay. So I think I know what they're going for there, but
that's your one hack. What, do you have that many parents that are giving you a hard time? Like,
yeah, exactly. And by the way, that comment has 840 upvotes, resonating with the community. This one's interesting. Even high school seniors will be quiet in work if you just start walking around stamping hands or giving out stickers to on-task students. There you go. Teaching hack.
That's true. Attention contagion right there, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. This person I would have seen if I could have fired. She says, and this is funny because it's within the context of boundaries, but you could tell they're very rigid with their boundary here. Only work contract hours.
Good luck on that one.
Yeah, good luck on that.
I get the commitment, like you're saying, in terms of boundaries.
Yeah, but
where that can't, and I can just say as a consultant, as someone who comes from the outside, you definitely have those teachers who are like, if you're a minute over, and we're having a great discussion, they're just up and out. So
yeah. Here's one that's great. This is awesome and doesn't have enough upvotes. It says, tons of them. This one saved me countless times. When you or they are upset, just say, we'll resolve this tomorrow. Give yourself and them space to get the emotions under control. That person is smart, and that's why they didn't get a lot of upvotes, because Reddit can be just a total garbage pail.
Really?
It's a cesspool at times. Yeah. And here's another great tip, but low upvotes. Quit taking it personal, right? And they talk about the context of secondary grade level kids, but it doesn't matter the grade level. Just stop taking it personal. That's awesome. So those are some teaching hacks that people swear by. Do you have one? I'm putting you on the spot, but do you have one that you'd like to share? And then I'll share and then we'll wrap.
In terms of boundaries, I'm thinking of one that freed me up when I was early on. I was trying, like I told you earlier, like if it's not helping students, then what am I doing? And homework was a big one for me. Like I just thought that's what we do, and there's some versions of homework around practice and things that I can wrap my head around. But I was spending a considerable amount of time collecting homework, grading it, leaving feedback,
me too,
giving it to students. And I didn't know if anyone was reading it. I didn't know, did anybody help you with it? What did you copy it from something? Like it's totally outside of my sphere of influence. And yet I'm investing all this time. And yet what I was really, and I think what a lot of teachers do with homework is that they expect to collect, grade, look at homework as a formative assessment. In other words, it's going to help me understand where you are with the stuff we're trying to learn. It's going to help guide my instruction. And it was just so clear. And by the way, I should back up. I went and visited my first 2 or 3 years, I forget what year it was. I was really struck by no matter how much I was changing things, because I was like on this mission, like if it's not helping, I'm not going to do it. And so things were changing in my class quite a bit. And no matter what I did or threw at, kind of kids, there were certain students of all stripes that could handle it. And I developed this with-itness study, this student with-itness study. I interviewed the student. I had them write a piece for me. And then I reached out to the family and asked if I could come have dinner at their house.
Oh, nice.
And about out of the group that I had identified, I think I ended up going to like 12 different dinners, and I recorded our conversation. I still have the tapes of it.
Oh, cool.
And in that, just going to so many different students' homes, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm giving this homework and expecting like it to do the same thing. Yet every home I go into is completely different. There's different circumstances. Like this is not an equitable or reliable practice. So I threw it out. I just, for a while, just completely stopped. And what I did was I wanted that same experience in my class, in my sphere of influence, equitable, attainable. And so one big boundary for me was I started relying on what we call with organized binders, the learning log. But at the end of the lesson, no matter where we are, we commit to 2 or 3 minutes of class time. So there's some real estate there. And all I want you to do is write to me. Where's this landing with you? Do you get it? Do you not? Is this confusing? And I'm going to commit to collecting those, not every day like an exit ticket, because that's not a sustainable practice necessarily. But I can do that. But at a minimum, at the end of the week, I'm going to read these. I'm going to write back to you on them, and I'm going to hand it to you on Monday. And we're going to have this personal, private, one-on-one conversation throughout the school year. And boy, did it transform my practice. Because I would show up on Monday. And I knew I had a pulse on every kid in the room in a way that homework just didn't tell me. And it was totally sustainable. I collected this thing at the end of the week, and it was plenty of time to make adjustments and clear things up, instructionally or whatnot. But so that was my teacher hack. Like I would tell kids, I'm like, don't BS me on this. Like, this is why I'm doing it. Like I rely on this in a way that I need you to understand and buy in with me. And almost all kids would. And that transformed my practice for sure.
That's sweet. Cool.
Yeah.
My teaching hack was kind of like using that maybe, and sometimes an affirmative sort of response to students' sort of outcry for attention, right? So they do something crazy in class, or they'd say something like super terrible and offensive, like "you suck, Mr. Bauer," or "I hate your class, I'm never doing your homework." And I would say maybe, or like I can't even remember, but just like terrible things. And then you're the worst teacher in the whole school. You're probably right, and and when I started doing that, like it would literally rip their brain in two, and they'd be like, "What do you mean? Like, why are you agreeing?" Like for a second, they'd get a little more escalated, and then they'd just stop, because all the students started seeing, right, that I wasn't going to get on the emotional roller coaster with them, because I used to take it super personal. And then it'd be like, "Oh yeah, Mitch, I'll show you. I'm going to call your parents and I'm going to write you up, and I'd make a whole big thing. And then I realized that kids were doing this because watching an adult lose control is hilarious and way more entertaining than doing the classwork. So if I started like as a, Jedi, just deflecting every assault at me, and it just never worked, the assaults, all the stuff stopped. And Mitch, I never wrote up a kid again once I learned that trick. Never sent him out of class and wrote him up. We might go in the hall and have a discussion, but they never got written up again. Yeah. And I used to do a lot of write-ups. So that's my my teaching hack.
I tell kids in class, I remember, when things would escalate or something, that, it'd be some like infraction for a detention or something. And I'd be like, listen, I don't even know how to submit a detention. I've never done it. I'm not going to give you detention. Like, we're going to solve it. We're going to work on it here. Like I said, we might step in the hall. We might even, like, I was talking to TJ last week, and he was saying one of his strategies when, there would be a classroom management kind of conflict is, he said, what I would do, and he was working at it's some students carrying a lot with them. And he said it wasn't uncommon where I kind of had to hold my ground and stuff. And he said his tactic was, it was a CTE school, career technical ed. So he would find the kid later that day. So there was some wait time, right? Some cool down time in their CTE, like their shop class, they're where they're doing stuff. And he said, I would just show up in there, and the teachers all knew it was kind of my deal. If I did, this is probably what I was doing. And I would just go over to the kid, and they'd just be like, hey, you know what? Just want you to know everything's cool. I know we had that, mishap in class.
Yeah.
You're 15. I'm an adult. It's okay. I'm not carrying it. I'm excited to see you tomorrow.
That's cool.
Just we can let it go. Everything's cool. And he said every single time, first of all, the kid kind of like you're saying would be like, Did
they apologize then? Like what? Yeah,
maybe.
What happened you said every single time what?
Then by the time the kid came into the class the next day, it was like, everything,
high fives,
it was like
hugs.
But think about BFFs. The life lesson there for young people who live maybe, and I'm making an assumption here.
I think we can use this at home too, by the way.
What's life for you outside of school, right? And you get this experience with adults. It's like, there's going to be conflicts. And this isn't even a conflict that we need to resolve. We're like going to let it go, or maybe we do need, but modeling that for young people is pretty cool. So
sweet. Cool. Well, let's wrap this up. Anything last thoughts that you want to make sure Ruckus Maker knows before we go?
No, I'm good. I'm going to be, this isn't for Ruckus Makers to know because this won't be out, but I'm jumping on a plane Sunday. I'm speaking in Hawaii for the next 4 days. Really cool event. Fun. That's what I'm thinking about. That'll be fun.
All right. And, I just want to say, if this is the end of August, right, school's probably starting up and you don't have to lead alone. We have an incredible community that wants to support you and help you create a campus experience worth showing up for. And if you find that you don't really have coaching or mentorship or a great peer network to rely on, even if you have a peer network, but they're all within the same system, so you all kind of see things the same way, I want to invite you to apply to the mastermind, betterleadersbetterschools.com/mastermind, because we've got a space with a seat that has your name on it, and we'd love to support you. So, all right. Thanks for listening to the show. Good seeing you again, Mitch.
All right. Always.
Hey, Ruckus Maker, thanks again for pressing play. I hope you enjoyed this show as much as I enjoyed recording it. And before you go, if today's episode shifted something for you, where you want to do school different or you have a new idea about education, then I want to invite you to subscribe to ruckusmakers.news. That's our newsletter. And you get 3 new opportunities to do school different every week sent to your inbox. It's trusted by over 5,000 school leaders. And if you want to reimagine education within a traditional setting so that you could create a campus experience worth showing up for, subscribe for free at ruckusmakers.news.